No. You're able to, like, you could say jump and then move.
But you couldn't jump and then interact. That's
right.
the key, right?
And this guy did not move yet. He would actually, boom, boom. He'd get an extra movement because he sees you.
Okay. Then jump. Then go.
Now, when they're alerted, do they have any kind of aggro? Like, will they actually follow, or do they?
They will. They will break their. I have it right here. They'll break their patrol path.
Okay.
And then as soon as they lose the player, real game there'd be kind of there'd be like a cooldown. Sure. Yeah. But on this, it would just be they're able to move up to 2 squares on their turn in order to get back to their patrol path.
Okay.
So I'll jump again and move 1.
Again, just something to think about. If you wanted to test that cooldown length, you certainly could. Again, you're a big enough team. You can have one person just running a timer. It should be 5 seconds, should be 10. Maybe it only needs to be 3, and see what that would actually be like in terms of their follow.
Move 1 and move back again.
Okay.
Notice Caliber's taking video. If you guys want to do video for your prototype playtest, that's fine. Otherwise, I would suggest doing really incremental images. The purpose of really thorough prototyping documentation is so that you can go back and evaluate what you've done, what you've learned. I can't tell you how many times I've been mid-testing a mechanic or a system of mechanics and broken something. And because I keep good documentation, I can go back and fix it. But if you're not documenting well and you break something, you're basically going to have to reinvent the wheel. So the more thorough your documentation is, the better. It lets you, go back and have some meaningful observations. So I would either do really nice incremental photography or just take video. Either one's fine.
How do mic operators do this?
However, you want to sit down?
No, I'm good.
All right.
If I sit down, it can't be the time.
True.
I'm going to move back again and there because I know if I jump down, you'll see me.
Yeah. If you want to just like stay still, you can just tell me that too.
Oh, I did not know that.
You can just
stay still.
Yeah, you move up to 2, so you can just move none if you want.
One of the things, just again thinking toward next week, that's a little different than we would typically do it just for speed's sake, is that usually I would just have participant kind of read through the rules to see if they grasp what they should be doing and just let them start to play. So what I'll say is, for all the teams, it's awesome that you have them here and you have them printed like I asked. I really appreciate that. Send them to me. So let me get a digital copy. Someone from the team just send them to me on the platform. I'll review them, and if I see any holes or I see something that isn't being communicated as clearly as it could, I'll let you know.
Okay.
And that way you have time to make adjustments before Monday.
Okay.
Bless you.
Bless
Did
you.
I move in this one?
Did I? I don't remember.
Yeah, because I remember that's why I was saying jump down, then I guess that's the only thing I can do at this moment.
Yeah, you can move 2 squares in your turn if you wanted.
Well, you said I can only have one of those at a time, so
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you can't.
I jump back down? Because that's the only...
You jump over the enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing is, so I'm gonna kind of like handhold here, but you have to like pay attention to your when you jump, you can only jump over 1. So we kind of like put in a path where you'd actually have to drop down in order to get around. So the actual only way to progress out of here is from this platform.
And remember, for every 3 blocks you're falling down, you can go 1 over.
Yeah. So.
The only thing I can do is just that.
Yeah.
So you can jump over enemies?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yeah, that's something we should have, I guess, vocalized. I think we all kind of have this game in our head, so it's a little bit difficult for us.
Exactly.
If we know what to do.
And the key is then to go back and look at the rules and make sure it's nice and clear there.
Right.
So for the time being, the only way I see it is I'm going to move back here and see what happens. Because the only way I can see it getting over it, because since he has the edge right there, is to wait for him to come back over this way.
And kind of same as before, because he sees you, he will move an additional. You're not caught yet.
Yeah, so jump over him and then move on.
Yeah. Okay. Something we need to do. The actual moving over enemies. We need to figure out how to allow them to move more than 1. So you made it.
Yeah.
All right. So next
No,
round,
easy
you're
enough.
able to move out of the way. So
So, am I able to jump even if
yeah. It's just like it's imagine like you're close, but you that was your moment. You're able to get away. So this is your getting away.
Oh, okay. So, there you go.
And
Saying going back to our earlier conversation, this is one of those moments where if they are going to aggro follow, that would get really interesting.
yeah, and we have so they're not able to like fall off their ledges, but they will like say if this was all open and his patrol path is right here, he'd follow the player all the way across.
Okay. So he won't jump across ledges.
No.
Okay.
Damn, I can't do a Gomez stop. He's right there.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, what would happen if I jump down?
Well, okay, you'd be able to. So you want to like jump down to you 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. You'd be able to do that all in your turn. Because at every 3 squares you fall, you're able to move over 1.
Okay, that is a little interesting. So, okay, then I'm gonna do that. Like what you say, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Jump up and level 1. Then I'm going to jump down. Wait, which way is he facing? I can't check.
They're both facing this way.
Oh, okay.
So
Then for the time being, I'll just jump up here. With 1. There's 2. I jump down, move 1. I'm staying still. Jump down and I can't jump again down.
the jumping down doesn't count as jumping.
Oh, then I'll just. I'll just stay. And he's facing me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, move 1, then just jump right up. Then move 2, then.
Yeah, then you add that to the door.
Yeah.
Then you have to do that 2 more times.
Should I just go for 2 other times? Or, let's do that.
Good question.
Yeah.
So if your player does like miss those other fragments when they go through like the initial loop, it seems like it'd be kind of difficult to get back. Like that could almost be frustrating.
Yeah.
And to back travel all the way up through there.
Yeah, this is kind of a thrown together level. Like we have multiple paths and stuff like that. Like we
Okay.
play test that.
You said the limit is 2 up or 3 up?
So like the player occupies 1, and they're able to jump 1, 2 up, and then move over. So yeah, that's actually
I
a
missed
critical
that.
gap.
Yeah. So there is actually no way back up once he's missed those fragments.
Well, you could get caught.
You could. But that's
No,
probably
but,
not the way you
yeah.
want to journey back. And that's actually what I thought. Because like if it were me, I would have just on purpose got caught and would have bounced me back to whatever checkpoint. But I think this is interesting, right? It again, failure's kind of the point here. So now you know it's as simple as moving a couple of lines, luckily, because we're just doing physical prototyping.
Right.
But you've got to make sure that since there is a more open approach, that they can always reverse engineer. One of the things that might help, I think, just in terms of the visual iconography here, is that maybe bump out your end space and actually draw 3 circles so that it keeps reinforcing the idea that you've got to have 3 pieces to unlock that door. Versus maybe people thinking like, oh, I found this thing, let me go and get out of here when they can't.
Okay.
Same question I asked group 1. Is this, when you think about the way we're seeing this right now, would this all be visible to me on the screen at the same time?
We were talking about that. We don't know. We were talking about having a kind of like a section visible, like in Zelda, like how Zelda does, and then like you'd move to the next one. But we were also like talking about a couple different things. We haven't really nailed that one down.
Okay, so that's an important one, I think.
We were talking earlier. We weren't sure if we should like bring paper to like cover up the rest or something.
Yeah, and you definitely could. That's an option. That's another simple, pretty simple way to just obscure partial, like the partial field of play. Again, then you gotta just kind of decide like, at what point is more revealed? Do I keep the view of what's come before? Does that get covered in return? And because those all do different things in terms of how much cognitive load you're asking of me in terms of memory. It's not necessarily there's a good choice or a bad choice. It's just that, like you said, you just got to make some decisions. That's all. Once you've figured out a couple more things, then it'll be easier to come back and make adjustments.
I did really like that you stayed still on multiple turns, because that was something that we were kind of talking about as well. Is like having where the player's able to just study the control paths and whatnot.
Right, which is one of those things that might lend itself toward having a larger field of view, if not a complete field of view, just so that you're creating those. If like we're prompting the player then, right, to take those moments to pause and to watch, if they're paying attention. Yeah.
Do you have any defined way of showing the guard's vision, or is it going to be just purely experiment to see when they get aggro to you?
They do have a range, and I think it's 3 spaces. I don't remember, but they we were. I mean, it's like the flashlight thing, or not make it visible or not. And we just haven't nailed that down.
Okay.
But kind of either way, whether we do a visible kind of distance, you would be able to tell which direction they're facing based on, you'd actually see like them walking one way, walking the other way. So we would have that kind of visual change so you'd be able to tell, okay, they're not looking at me, let me go ahead and move now.
Okay.
What I would say for both teams, since you've taken kind of a stealth angle on the action-adventure, which is fine, stealth is a subset of that genre anyway, is maybe playing around a little bit more with cover. Because if you're not going to have a visible range of sight, by having cover points, you'll prompt them to be like, oh, things can actually see me. Whether they consciously realize it or not, subconsciously they're going to be like, oh, this is something that I should be hiding behind. Over here, with you guys doing the 2.5D, those little alley points, those little duck points, could be something that you, like, the player use as well. So over here, it might just be, again, maybe it's a chunk of rubble. If you're going to play around with that little bit of parallaxing, maybe if I haven't climbed over, they shouldn't really be able to see through it, right? And I get that sense of like, oh, once I'm on the other side, they'll probably be able to see me.
Okay. I didn't mention this before, but I was thinking of there's an Assassin's Creed mobile game that was like that. It's like Assassin's Creed, you hide and you kill and whatnot, and it's like they had like the hay bales and stuff like that you could hide in.
That's exactly what I was thinking when she was saying it.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Final Fantasy Chapter 13.
Yep. All right. Thank you, guys.